Hey Colts fans, I'm JJ Stankevitz and welcome into another episode of the Colts Show, an Indianapolis Colts podcast. We are presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Really fun episode today. I had an electric conversation with wide receiver Alec Pierce. We got into some technique stuff with him playing wide receiver. We got into his triple jump career in Illinois. We got into the intricacies of volleyball. Trust me, all that stuff will make sense when you get into the interview. It was awesome. Alec was great. Really enjoyed that conversation. We got the Colts Show Mailbag coming up today. Remember, you can submit your questions at colts.com/mailbag. Drop them to me on social media like Twitter and Instagram, or right here in the YouTube comments of this episode. Got a good question this week about Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, some early season comparisons with those two guys. And then I'm going to have a quick little look ahead to week 3 with the Colts facing the Tennessee Titans down at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. The first place Indianapolis Colts. I know it's 2 weeks in, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here because 2 weeks does not equal an 18-week season, but Colts are in first at 2-0. The other teams in this division have had some issues to start the season, especially watching that Monday night game where the Houston Texans really struggled to move the ball against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Got all that coming up for you here on today's show. We're going to get to my chat with Alec Pierce right after these messages here on the Colts Show. The Colts Show is presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Greatness in the NFL starts long before kickoff. It's built in the quiet hours of preparation and the discipline to turn insights into action. The Indianapolis Colts rely on Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs to turn preparation into performance. With real-time AI-powered insights right on the sideline, coaches and players can make smarter, faster decisions when it matters most. From the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs are transforming how the Indianapolis Colts prepare, strategize, and win. This isn't just about football, it's about unlocking potential wherever the game is played. Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. Hey Colts fans, for the first time ever, the Colts are bringing Fall Fest to Colts Nation. I know my family, we are a big fall festive family. We love corn mazes, we love hay rides, we love pumpkin patches all over the Indianapolis area, and the Colts are bringing these things to you with a Colts theme. Enjoy a full day of family fun like corn mazes, hay rides, pumpkin patches, and more, plus Colts giveaways and appearances from Blue and the Colts cheerleaders. It all starts September 27th at Lark Ranch in Greenfield. Get the details at colts.com/fallfest. Do you want the ultimate Colts game day? Check out our new VIP single game seats with padded chairs in the first 2 rows, club access, a $100 food and beverage credit, and VIP parking when you buy 4 or more. Learn more at colts.com/tickets. Now back to us here on the Colts Show. All right, back here on the Colts Show with wide receiver Alec Pierce. How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Good. All right, I want to start here. The big catch Tyler Warren had in week 2 against Denver. You're running a go route on Riley Moss, and you faked like the ball was coming to you?
Yeah, that's something.
Why?
Just, I know I'm running them off, and instead of having to block them, you just fake look the ball's coming to you. They just keep running. They think the ball's coming,
I've never, I'm sure I've seen it, but I haven't registered it. And Jim Aiello was the one who pointed it out on Twitter first. But you go like this, and Moss kind of speeds up a little bit behind you.
Yeah.
But were you trying to draw him just a little bit further downfield so he couldn't make the play? Were you trying to fool the safety?
Yeah, when you're in the game, you're in the stadium, you hear probably some crowd, the crowd starts, you hear some noise. He's probably okay, something just happened there.
Yeah.
So I was like, if he's a few yards behind me, I'm like, just throw my hands up, see if he runs to me instead of having it, because if I stop, he's gonna stop. He's already behind me. Go run and make the tackle, So I was like, I kind of wasn't in a place to block him. I was like, hopefully he'll run to me if I act like I'm catching the ball. So it's something our coaches have showed us clips of people doing before and tried it out there, and we'll see if we add it to the bag, right?
I was going to say, that sounds like a Reggie Wayne special of just those little details.
Yeah, just little details, right, yeah.
What about, I know you've probably been asked this a ton over your time in Indy, but the little things that Reggie can give you here and there, how has that elevated your game as you've kind of progressed into year 4 now in the league?
Yeah, I like the way he looks at kind of attacking DBs and certain little details he gets into, and just how he he'll be like, oh, I would look at this and kind of attack this guy this way. He does this or that. So I think the way he kind of just breaks down like that individual like one-on-one work is pretty good.
Against Denver, you ran a number of crossing routes where you were able to kind of beat Patrick Surtain to the ball. That's obviously a defensive player of the year, cornerback. But on that last one on the 3rd and 6, it looked like you kind of faked a little like outside release, almost like a slot fade release, and then you got into the crossing route. Just kind of take me through that play, and obviously it came up in a big moment in the game there.
Yeah, it's just a mesh concept, so just kind of running 2 shallows underneath each other, trying to kind of get a little bit of traffic in there. But I just knew, like, Reggie always tells us, like, he's like, don't bank on that, like, that pick or kind of that interference to get you open, like, try to get yourself open. So I just at the line tried to kind of call it like a split release or something, or a pressure step, but basically just kind of hold them for a second, and then that route is just it's just a race across the field, right? So as much as you can win at the line and get them to freeze for a second before you take off, like then that creates a separation. You just got to hold it across the field.
I know I asked you about it after the game, but just the overall group of receivers not backing down from that challenge against number 2 Surtain on Denver.
Yeah.
What does that say about just maybe the collective confidence of this group of you, Pitt, AD, Josh, those guys?
Yeah. I know we got a lot of confidence in ourselves in the room. I think we got a lot of good players, and like I said, it's like very much so like by committee. Like we got a lot of guys who can affect the game in different ways. Different skill sets in there, but I think we got somebody for every type of job you can have or you need. So I know we believe in all of our talents and stuff, and I know we know like we're not going to back down from any challenge.
With that versatility has to come a lot of unselfishness, though, right?
For sure. That's something that coach has harped on from day one. It's just like, just being that, like, there's one football and they got a bunch of like mouths to feed too, and adding Tyler to the equation this year too. Basically we're spreading it between a lot of different people.
I mean, you have to know, like, going into each game, okay, this might be a big day for Pitt, and I might like week 1, you had only a handful of targets there, but you made it count when the ball got thrown to you on that deep shot, and then last week you're getting a little more on the underneath stuff. Like, that ability to just kind of go week to week and say, hey, like, even if I'm not getting the ball this week, here's how I can impact the game plan, and here's why. Like, you have to be unselfish, but it seems like the communication from, like, Reggie, from Jim Bob, from Shane is all very clear in that as well.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, how do you just digest that then, I guess, as you go about this season?
It's just got to be something like week to week where you go and practice, you kind of see the plays they put in, and my biggest thing is, like, I always try not to, like, overthink into things. You can be like, okay, like, here they're putting somebody in this place here to get the ball here. They might not think I can do this or that, but you understand they gotta, like I said, they gotta share the ball. They gotta get certain people certain looks. Like the game plan might be great for somebody, so they might be trying to throw in somebody else in a different play here, kind of spread the love a little bit. So like I said, I think early in my career I read into things a lot more, and I was like, oh, like, they're moving me to this position here because they don't want me to do this or that. But I tried to switch it in my mind to be like, oh, it's not that they don't want me to do this, they want me to do this. They think I'm better at this, or like, or it's like we want to get a guy the ball because he might not be getting the ball as much in this game plan. Like, I know I got my stuff in the game plan, right? So it's like it's all about, quality, spreading the love. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's what I've been used to playing football. I've never been a guy that's gotten the ball a ton. Like, even going back to high school, we ran the ball all the time. College,
Glenbard West triple option was pretty elite there.
Yeah, not a lot of passes going on in Glenbard West. And then in college, like we were spread offense, but we were like really like run heavy. So I've never kind of been accustomed to getting the ball a ton. So I think that's something I talk with Josh Downs about it a lot. Like, and he always says to me, he's like, hey, like, I don't know how you do it, like, with just like not getting like frustrated and not that. And I was like, this is just kind of how I've always been. But I feel like I'm trying to help the other receivers, and they try to learn from kind of how I go about my business with that because it can be very hard. Obviously we all want the ball every single play. We want to do as much as you can for the team to win, right? So
the way you're talking about this, this is completely like a completely different arena, but like in my experience when I was like young working at like Comcast Sportsnet Chicago, when they told me, hey, you got to go on TV, and it would be once a month, and I was like, I have to nail this. I put so much pressure on myself, and I screwed it up so many times. I embarrassed myself in front of Frank Thomas once. It was like it was the worst. And like, how do you as a receiver though work through, hey, if I'm only getting 3 targets in a game, not putting so much pressure on yourself in those moments that you do get them, so you can still go out and make those plays?
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge with it, and that's something I kind of figured out last year. I think a lot more. Just talking with certain people, like more so like almost like psychology type stuff, like, but just getting into more like the mental stuff and just basically staying calm out there, kind of keeping your emotions in check. It always helps me basically to, just be ready and just understand like everything, the preparation and practice has all been put in. So like when the play comes, like your opportunity to make the play comes, like the work is already done. Like you've already like prepared for that. So like it's just trusting your instincts, don't overthink things. Basically, I always figure like when I am messing things up is I'm overthinking things, and that comes with, like you said, with like knocking the ball. It's tough not to overthink it because you get in that huddle and you hear that play called and it might be the third quarter and you haven't really had a ball come your way yet, and you're like this is like, I need to make this play here, like this is like my chance here, like and who knows when the next ball is coming, right? But I've kind of learned to when that happens, because you still do get that feeling of like, okay, like I gotta like it's almost like a little bit of like this is make or break here, because like I don't know when the next ball is coming, right? Learn to kind of like ground yourself and like take a deep breath and kind of just like remind yourself like you got this, like you make this play all the time, like this is like routine,
Yeah, you put the work in, you do the preparation.
Sure.
It's
already been done.
Yep. What is something that people may not know about Daniel Jones that you've learned about him over the last couple of months?
Man, he's good at a lot of sports. Like we play, he likes basketball. I play a lot of golf with him. I
mean, he's a really good athlete.
He's a really good athlete, yeah. I know he said he played lacrosse in high school. It's funny.
North Carolina Laxbro, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, literally. It's funny, over the summer we were training somewhere and these kids were on the other half of the field shooting lacrosse. Like, I don't even know what you say, like just playing lacrosse, shooting lacrosse at the net, right? And like kind of as we're walking out, they wanted to take pictures with us or whatever, and as we're walking out, like he was like, hey, like let me shoot the lacrosse ball, and his buddy, like we were out east, so it was some of his buddies that he had been with for the Giants for a while, so he knew him a lot better. He's like, oh man, he's always like gonna want to shoot at the lacrosse net if they have one up here. He's like he always just launches it over. He never makes it, and he did the same thing, like does it because those balls go forever, right? And like poor kid, like I had to go run after it. Then like I think he launched it high and it just went all the way back to like the fence back there. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, never fails. So
that's a sport I have no idea how to play. Like I don't even know where you would start playing lacrosse.
So I was talking with Coleman Owen, one of our practice squad receivers, and I could just tell like I feel like for a receiver, and then obviously like it's quarterback too, like it's like open field, it's making people miss. But I think it's probably one of the best sports you can play as a receiver, because it's just like I'll see a guy like Coleman. I was like we were talking about high school.
So Coleman was a former lacrosse player.
Yeah, we were talking about sports or something. I don't know where it came out. I think we were talking about baseball or something. He's like, I didn't play baseball. And I'm like, let me guess you. I'm like, you played lacrosse, didn't you? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, dude, I can just tell the way you like move, the way you kind of separate. Like, it's very like, like Chris Hogan was a
I was gonna say the
player.
Patriots guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it translates really well to playing receiver. It's because a lot of times you see lacrosse. Like those guys, they're kind of dancing around one-on-one, trying to make a guy miss, like juking him out and stuff like that. And that's especially like in the slot, like the stuff that Coleman and Josh do. A lot of times they kind of have some tempo and it's just one-on-one, just make like kind of try to break a guy's ankle. and make a miss and get open. So I'm like, it's very much so like the same movements as lacrosse.
I love this because you grew up playing a lot of different sports.
Mm-hmm.
You told me once that like you probably could have been a pretty good sand volleyball player.
Mm-hmm.
But why is it important to like get that? Like you didn't just specialize in football.
Yeah.
Like you played all these other sports, and how has that benefited you in your career?
Yeah, I think it just develops you as an athlete as a whole. Obviously like the coordination aspect, and like for me, volleyball I think shows up in my football game, just with like attacking the ball, catching the ball, like hand-eye coordination. I played setter. They were training me for setter for so long, and that's like just getting your hand. You got to get your hands perfectly placed on the ball all the time, right?
You weren't an outside hitter. They were training you to play setter.
So I'm a lefty. So like ideally, like if you can have a prototypical setter, it's a lefty, because when the ball goes up to the net, you can spike it. Like if you're in the front row, you can go up to set it, and your right shoulder's to net, so you can spike it with your left hand. Like you can fake set and spike it. So you want to be a lefty. So they were kind of like, okay, good athlete, gonna be like a good height. Also, like you got to be very tall for volleyball. Like 6'3" is not tall enough, but it's great height for a setter. But like to be like a hitter, like they're usually like 6'7", stuff like that. So
the basketball coach at Oak Park hated the volleyball team.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, they're taking all my guys.
Yeah, they're taking a bunch of tall guys.
All the 6'7" guys are playing volleyball.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. But yeah, volleyball's I think different skill set. Like, and it's kind of unique to a lot of different things. But yeah, like you said, like I think basketball is great. Basketball, I think, and receiver go very hand in hand. Like you can just see. I'll even see like clips of like, I think it's Stephon Diggs and stuff. It's like his releases is like you can basically see his hands. It looks like he's like dribbling a basketball. It's like between the legs, behind the back. Like that's like your 1-2 release, like to outside release. So it's a lot of the same type of movements. And I think when you get other sports, like I think if you just play one sport, you kind of become a little bit robotic and like you don't have that creativity where like if you might have played another sport, you might do something that is like kind of common in that other sport. You might bring it to like football, and people would kind of be like, what is that? Like that, like like, oh, like he just hit kind of like a basketball like hezzy type move on a route. Like that's not something like you like that was like known in football. And I think it's just like that's developed the games is like kind of like the crossing between all of them.
Does that, it's like a high schooler. Did that keep football fun for you, that it wasn't like your only thing that you were doing?
For sure. And I think, I guess now with 7-on-7 and stuff, and it sounds like some of these states do like spring football and stuff, but I feel like you can't really play football year round. So like you got to have something else going on, like I guess you can just be training football, but like what, 13, 14-year-olds just going to be focused training on one thing. I feel like you need something else to kind of freshen it up, whether it's like, my biggest, I always tell people to run track, because I think you really can't teach speed. But I think as a young age, if you start running track, it's only going to help you run faster. And I think speed is like kind of like the ultimate. It's pretty. If it helps you a lot in football. Like it's. I have a lot of respect for guys who aren't very fast and are still able to be very, very good football players. A lot of respect for them, because I feel like it's like, especially at receiver, I feel like it's like, well, if you can't. Like no matter how much separation you get, if you're just not very fast, like they're just gonna run and catch you up to you. And so like, I always tell people to run track. That's always like my biggest advice to like young kids.
What was your track event?
I was probably best at like triple jump, which is kind of random. I didn't do a ton of it, and I did it a lot in middle school. So I only ran track my senior year of high school because I was playing volleyball my first 3 years. But I did it a ton in middle school. So I got good at triple jump in middle school, and then I came back to track my senior year, and I was like triple jump's kind of a lot on your like knees and body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was very, I didn't want to do triple jump. My coach was one of my football coaches. He was kind of with me. He's like, let's not do triple jump. It's a lot on your body. Like I don't want you to like, you're going in to go play college football in a month or two here. Like I don't want you to like hurt your knee or anything like that, because, I was bulking up for football, and I think you want to be real slim and light to run a triple jump. It's a lot of weight on your knees and stuff. So, but I ended up doing it. It was actually because conference, so Oak Park wins every year.
West Suburban Silver.
Oak Park wins every year. And
Go Huskies.
Yeah, I think they win every year. Maybe them or York or something. But like Glenmore West we hadn't won. I don't know if we'd ever won track conference, and we didn't end up winning. We were super, super close. But going into that conference event, my coach looked at it, and he was like triple jump. He's like, there's no one in. He's like, they got one good guy from Oak Park, like he's gonna win conference. But he's like, you go out there and he's like, I know you haven't done triple jump all year, but like you go out there and put a good number up, like you'll get second place. We'll take like whatever the 8 points or whatever it is. And I'm like, all right, like I love doing triple jump. I'll give it a shot, right? And I went out there and I beat the kid from Oak Park. And then it was like did that, and then we went to I think sectionals the next week and then state. So I think I jumped triple jump like 2 times all year or something, 3 times all year. And every jump I'd go, like you get 3 jumps at a track meet, right? It's like conference, like every jump would go like maybe like 6 inches farther, and then go to like sectionals, and you just get better on every single jump. And I got to state, and I was in like one like the lower flight. I think they had like 3 flights or something, and maybe you advance the next day, and like most of the guys are it's just the guys from the top flight that advance the next day, and I was like from like one of the lower ones, and I probably like broke my school record or something. And like, I went to the finals off doing like 5, like probably like 6 jumps all year or something. And it was in the finals. The finals is the only time because I remember every jump I was going farther. In the finals, that's when it finally stopped, and I was close. I was like, I want to say I was within. It was like a down year. Like they didn't normally every year, because triple jump is pretty like niche. I feel like they don't have like I was looking back at the results from years past, and there would be like a guy who's going to like a big SEC school who beat everyone by 4 feet,
Yeah.
And they didn't have a guy like that this year. So like I was within like, I want to say I was within like 6 inches or like 10 inches of winning state.
That's insane.
The triple jump. Yeah. And it was like, and I told you I was improving every single jump, and I got to the final day, and they just used my marks from the day before, because the problem is I was doing 4 events out there, and it was like 100 degrees. I think I just got the fatigue started to hit in a little bit, but yeah, I would love to go back and look at. I think I got like 6th or 7th place in the state, but
and having done like no prep for it.
Yeah, doing like probably under 10 jumps on the season.
And so, yeah, like you said, that's a niche thing. Like
yeah, but it was the thing that was like, I just remember being like, man, I was within like, it was definitely under a foot. I think everyone was in like 46 some feet. And I was like right there. I was like, I could have won state if I just would have took this seriously a little bit,
This might be kind of a dumb question, but like, did you realize like in that moment, like, I'm a really good athlete? Like, did it like hit you at all? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't say in that moment. I always loved like triple jump, and I was always like in middle school, like no, like I don't think anyone ever beat me in the triple jump, right? That was like kind of my event, doing track, and I love track. It was always a great time for me. I would do like the 100, the 200, sometimes 400, long jump, triple jump, and then if you're doing all the sprints, you're doing the relays and stuff. So that's what in high school we were running all the relays. Like we went down to state 4x1, 4x2, 4x4 was what we're really there to do. And then I was like, you can do 4 events. So I qualified for the triple jump. I'm like, we're gonna see where this thing goes, right? But yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if that made me realize I was a good athlete or not. And
it's just funny because like I think about going back to like my like the kids who I grew up around.
Yeah.
And like there's this one kid who threw like 90 miles an hour as like a 7th grader, and it was like, he's going, he's going to go to Major League Baseball. And like I remember in like 8th grade yearbooks, everyone's going up to this kid, hey, sign my yearbook. This might be worth something someday. And there's Evan Turner over there. Who's just like, yeah, cool,
Yeah.
Guy goes, he's the 2nd overall pick in the NBA, and it's like, no one thought at that moment he was going to do that. Iman Shumpert's a year behind us.
Yeah.
Were you the only like pro athlete to come out of Glenbard, like in your general sphere there? Obviously your brothers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we had a lot. There was a lot of talented guys, especially my older brother's class. We had like a.
Was Chris Watt in your older brother's class, or was he a little older?
No, Chris Watt's probably like 5 years old.
Okay, assistant offensive line coach for the Colts, by the way.
Shout out Chris Watt.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anyone. We actually had a kid. We had a kid from Glenbard West. Or I know at least I went to elementary school with him, and he was in the Winter Olympics.
Okay.
Speed skater.
Speed skating.
Speed skater.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's one.
Yeah.
But we always had kind of like random. Like we had there was a girl that was really, really good at long distance running. I don't think she ended up having like a, like all-American college career, but she was like kind of like the number one runner in the country coming out of high school. I think she went to Michigan. And then like my brother's class, they had the Gatorade Player of the Year for football. Sam Brodner, running back.
Yeah.
He was incredible. I actually talked with Jonathan Taylor about him. He went to Wisconsin, and just unfortunately for him, he tore his ACL his freshman year, and then the class behind him was Jonathan Taylor. So I think he redshirted, and then he's going into camp to battle for that running back spot. And it sounded like JT went 3 years and got every single carry at
as
Wisconsin.
JT would do.
Yeah. So that was a tough. Like he kind of got stuck behind JT, and then my brothers, both of them. We'll see. In Cade's class, so my little brother Cade, his one of his good buddies is playing at Gonzaga. Braden Huff. He was Mr. Basketball for Illinois.
Okay.
So he's like 6'11". He's good, really good shooter, good player.
Is he related to the Pacers center, Jay Huff?
He's not.
Okay, all right.
He's not, but no, he's
There's a big guy with the last name of Huff.
Yeah. Yeah, you go play Gonzaga, we'll see, mate.
Yeah.
Maybe he can get to the NBA or something. He'll
Nemhard,
definitely play. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nemhard. Yeah.
Yeah. We could go down this suburban Chicago athletic rabbit hole. The point was like, it's hard to identify as like a high schooler. Like, this guy's definitely going to make the pros, and
for sure.
Just all that development that it takes. Like, I guess the last thing to end it on here is like, when people come up to you, you do the the youth football camp back in Glen Ellen. When kids come up to you and they say, "Hey, what does it take to make it to the pros? Like to make it in the NFL? You've been in it for 4 years now."
Yeah.
What's like maybe the first thing that like pops into your head to tell kids when they ask you that?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing of making it, one, you got to get here, which takes a lot in college, and there's obviously a lot of things that go into it too, like combine. I feel like the combine, all that stuff. Like it's a lot about your athletic profile, and some people might just be might not make it out the gate off that, right? But then you got to do well in college. But then I think once you get in the league, I think the biggest thing is like consistency, and just being like kind of on top of things in terms of just like your routines and stuff like that. Because it took me a little while to understand, but like every day you're being evaluated. Like practice is essentially, you got to treat it like the game, because you go out there. Like tomorrow, we'll have a Wednesday practice, and we'll run our plays that we're preparing for the Titans, right? And if I go out there and don't run good routes or don't make the plays, like they're gonna be way less likely to run those plays in the game than they are. So it's basically like the practice week is almost like your tryout for Sunday to get those plays called up. So you got to build the coach's confidence in you. And in your abilities to like call that play on Sunday. So
cool. Awesome. From Cincinnati, wide receiver number 14, Alec Pierce. This is great, man.
Yeah,
learned a lot about triple jumps and
triple jump, West Suburban
Chicago. I resisted asking you your Portillo's order. Shout out to Maggie Evers back there, our communications coordinator, also a Chicago native.
We're well represented out here. Yeah?
We resisted a Portillo's conversation. Thanks for the time, Alec. Appreciate it. All right, back here on the Colts Show. Thanks again to wide receiver Alec Pierce for joining me here on the pod. Great conversation. Again, I tried to keep the suburban Chicago stuff to a minimum, but it's kind of tough when like Alec went to high school in the same conference of my high school outside of Chicago. So again, tried to keep it to a minimum, but learned a lot about Alec in that conversation. It was great. All right, let's get to the Colts Show Mailbag, presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Achieving greatness with real-time AI insights from the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs are transforming how the Indianapolis Colts win. All right, Dylan Durnall writes for this week's mailbag question. Daniel Jones has shown great improvements during the first 2 weeks of the season. Do you believe he can be good enough to get the Colts back into the playoffs? Will he be like Sam Darnold and be a better QB with a better system around him? All right, so I've talked about this a decent amount on the pod, like even going back to preseason, where I I kind of was like, I don't know if Sam Darnold's all that good of a comparison. I think the guy I was looking at was Ryan Tannehill with what he did in Tennessee. But I was like, okay, if we're talking about Darnold here, what did he do to start last year is what I wanted to know. Like, did Sam Darnold get right out of the gate with Minnesota and play better than we had ever seen Sam Darnold play in his NFL career? The answer is yes. Sam Darnold last year in his first 4 games completed 69% of his passes with 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a passer rating of 118.9. He averaged 8.8 yards per attempt. It turns out, like, that was a sign of things to come for Sam Darnold. Last year with the Vikings, he had 14 games with a passer rating over 100. In his previous 68 games, so that's from 2018 to 2023, he had 12 games with a passer rating over 100. So that fast start, he was able to replicate that as the season went on. Daniel Jones, he has 111.1 passer rating through his first 2 games. That is the highest in a 2-game span in his entire NFL career. His 9.3 yards per attempt over these first 2 games is the second highest in a 2-game span. And he's only taken 2 sacks. That's the 4th fewest amount of sacks he's taken in any 2-game span. So, like, this is not just to start a season. This is like any 2-game span of Daniel Jones' career. So, can he continue it? I think what we saw against Denver is a really strong indicator that he can. And it's because that Denver defense, they marry rush and coverage better than, like, most defenses in the NFL, right? Like, they've got goblins up front who get after the court, like Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper and Zach Allen, and these guys they're a great pass rushing unit. So they'll get after you, rushing 5, and then playing tight man coverage behind it with a guy like Pat Surtain II, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. And Daniel Jones, he was blitzed, and like Pro Football Focus counts it as a blitz when you send 5, but like Rick Venturi and I had this conversation before the game on Sunday. Like, I don't know if, like, I call it the Broncos are doing like true blitzing, because they're a 3 down front and they just send their 2 outside linebackers. Whatever it is, they're sending a ton of 5-man pressures, as you would expect. And Daniel Jones did a good job mitigating that with the offensive line, with Jonathan Taylor, who has been freaking nails as a run block, as a pass protector, I should say. Daniel Jones did a good job mitigating that and not getting under pressure a whole lot. When he was under pressure, that was on 19 of his 38 dropbacks. He went 8 of 15 for 102 yards. He scrambled 3 times, and he was only sacked once. So, baseline, you're not getting a bunch of negative plays. Like, I think quarterbacks who take a ton of sacks, those are drive killers. Sacks are drive killers. And Daniel Jones didn't do a whole lot of that. He's able to scramble, and maybe he didn't gain a ton of yards when he scrambled, but again, you're not getting those negative plays. And then going 8 of 15 for 102 yards, it's not like, the most impressive total, but under pressure against that Denver defense, that is impressive. He didn't throw the ball into harm's way, and he was accurate when he needed to be. I mean, the last throw he made to Alec Pierce on that 3rd and 6, where Pierce runs the shallow cross that we talked about in the interview with him, like, Jones is getting pressure from Nick Bonito to his left on his blind side, and he's buying enough time, and he gets the throw off. Those things are sustainable. They're not like, well, Shane Steichen schemed it up and it was easy. Daniel Jones made a number of really freaking hard throws in week 2. Like his first throw of the game to Josh Downs. I asked Jim Bob Cooter about it on Tuesday, and Jim Bob goes, yeah, he just kind of did one of those, like, that was one of those throws that, like, gets you to sit up in your seat a little bit, type of, like, the way he talked about it. These things are Daniel Jones playing quarterback. It's not, well, Shane Steichen schemed it up and it worked. It was Daniel Jones protected himself. He avoided pressure. He got the Colts in the right protection look, and then he was able to distribute the ball to the guys he needed to get the ball to. He pushed the ball downfield a ton in this game. I mean, like 5 times, maybe, I don't know if I would call it a ton actually, but like he did it in situations where it didn't necessarily like call for it. Like it wasn't like a design shot play, and he's buying time and he's trying to get the ball deep to A.D. Mitchell. He hits Alec on that one to Riley Moss where Riley Moss is in coverage, where he gets JT in the right protection look, blocking Singleton coming in through the B gap, and he gets that pass off. A really tremendous play all around there. I don't know. I think you're seeing things that are sustainable. The question then is like, what will teams start throwing at the Colts going forward? And I don't know. I mean, he's passed some tests against teams that are going to blitz a lot. Miami blitzed him a ton. Denver, again, technically, I guess it counts as a blitz, but they send a lot of 5-man pressures, right? Can he do it against a team that maybe is going to say, maybe we're not going to blitz him a whole lot, because he's shown that he can beat it now? That might be the next sort of iteration of this Colts offense that you need to go through with Daniel Jones is, okay, can he beat a team when they're not going to blitz you? Because the book on Daniel Jones was, if you do blitz him, he's going to struggle, at least with New York. And I think you're seeing, with a good offensive line, a running back who has been awesome in pass protection. Like, seriously, I cannot emphasize that enough, how good Jonathan Taylor has been in that aspect of his game. And receivers who are getting open. They're getting open on time. They're making plays with the ball in their hands after the catch. It's just a really good, just kind of collective group on offense right now. So, yeah, we'll see how it kind of changes going forward. All right, let's look ahead to Tennessee. Again, real quick on the mailbag. Again, thanks to Dylan for his question. I would be remiss if I didn't say get your questions in here in the YouTube comments, on Colts.com/mailbag, on social media. All right, let's look ahead to Tennessee, because I did a little dive into them today. And if you look at their offense, it is not good. They're 30th in points per game, 15.5. Dead last in the NFL. They are averaging 3.2 yards per play. That is not good. They're 31st in EPA per play. They are last in success rate. They're getting successful gains on just 27% of their plays. I mean, think about that. That's like, you're getting a 3 and out pretty much every time, if that's like what you're doing. They've scored 1 touchdown all season. 1 touchdown. They have 3 turnovers. By the way, the Houston Texans, they only have 2 touchdowns this season. The Titans are 31st on third down. They're 27th in penalty rate. They're getting flagged a lot. They're making it hard on Cam Ward. But and Cam Ward, real quick, like just his stats this year, 31-61, 287 yards. He's only attempted 3 passes of 20-plus air yards, which, like, when you watch him play, I was kind of surprised by that. He's been sacked 11 times. That's the most in the NFL through 2 games. But here's the thing, Cam Ward. If you just, like, turn on the film with this guy, it does not match the stats. And I asked Lou Anarumo specifically if he thinks, like, the stats match the film. And what Lou said is, I mean, the first thing you do as a coordinator is you go and you look at the film. And then maybe you check out some of the stats. And what Lou Anarumo said he sees in Cam Ward is he sees the field well, and he's very aggressive. He knows when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. The stats don't match the tape. That is the number one takeaway I got from hearing Lou Anarumo talk, is that whatever you're going to see from Cam Ward with his stats going into this game, it does not match the tape. And all you got to do is go look at that pass he had where he rolls out to his right against LA. He somehow gets his throw off across his body, across the entire field. It's ridiculous arm strength, ridiculous arm talent. Alec Pierce makes the catch in the end zone for a touchdown, just like an insane play that he can make. So you got to be aware that he can make plays outside of structure as a defense. And, you think about the big one Bo Nix had to Troy Franklin down the near sideline in week 2. Got to be aware that Cam Ward can go make a play like that as well that could flip this game. The other thing I just want to say about week 3, weird stuff happens in week 3 like all the time. I don't know if there's like confirmation bias on my part, but like I just think about week 3. And in 2023, the Indianapolis Colts went to Baltimore on the road, and they beat Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in a game where Zach Moss caught a touchdown on a wheel route. Matt Gay hit, 4 50-plus yard field goals in that game. They blitzed the heck out of Lamar Jackson. That game wound up being a weird game if you look at it at the end of the year, where Baltimore is going to the AFC Championship and the Colts just barely missed the playoffs. But other weird stuff has happened in week 3, like in 2022. Maybe that was the thing that came up in your mind if you're watching this or listening to this as a Colts fan. The Indianapolis Colts beat the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in week 3 of the 2022 season. Jelani Woods had that game-winning touchdown. As you may have heard, the Colts went 4-12-1 that year, and the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. When I covered the Bears, this was like a weekly thing, or a yearly thing in week 3. My first year covering the team, the Bears were awful. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at home The Steelers went to the playoffs that year in 2017 and 2018. The Arizona Cardinals were awful. The Bears almost lost to them on the road. Like, just weird stuff happens in week 3. I don't know why. Maybe it's because you get like 2 games of film and teams are starting to figure out their identity. And if you're 0-2, you're not as bad as you think. And if you're 2-0, you're not as good as you think. And teams get jumped or something. But I don't know. Just Tennessee, like as a team, doesn't look very good. But I'm just saying, like, beware. And the Colts are certainly aware that playing a divisional opponent in week 3, you got to bring it. No matter if Tennessee is like near the bottom of the NFL in every offensive category, their defense is solid. I like what Denard Wilson has done there. They might not have like a ton of just like top end talent type guys. Jeffrey Simmons is an awesome football player. Tavondre Sweat is an awesome football player in the interior of their D line. You know, Tennessee, they've got the they have the second most takeaways. They have 4 takeaways this year on defense. They're 26th in yards per play, but 18th in EPA per play, 12th in success rate, 14th in scoring drive rate. They're 26th on third down, 26th in explosive run rate allowed. I don't know. It's just going to be a really interesting game. I would not discount that Tennessee can put a good defensive performance together and that Cam Ward can make a couple of just like holy crap plays in this game that are going to make it tough on the Colts. So Colts got to bring it in week 3. Again, it's a division opponent. You got the Jags playing the Texans, by the way. So the AFC South's playing each other in week 3. And the Colts, if you want to win your division for the first time since 2014, you got to win these games in the AFC South. You got to win early, and you got to win often in the AFC South. We're going to be back here next week on the Colts Show with a look back at Tennessee. We're going to have another conversation with someone coming up next week, and then a look ahead to the Colts facing the Los Angeles Rams. Man, week 4. We're almost there. We're almost through the end of September. What a start it's been for the Colts. I've been joking with friends. It feels like the Colts are never going to lose again, and they're the best team in the NFL. Obviously, it's a long season. Vibes are about as good as they could be right now going into Tennessee, but you still got to win, and you can't get too ahead of yourself with this football team. It is just week 3. That's going to do it for this episode of the Colts Show presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Greatness in the NFL is built on preparation and quick decisions. That's why the Indianapolis Colts trust Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs, bringing real-time AI insights to the sideline so coaches and players can make smarter, faster decisions when it matters most. From the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC is transforming how the Indianapolis Colts win. Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching us here on The Colts Show. We'll be back next Thursday. So long.